Native American DNA result. What does it look like when we talk about Native American DNA result? Is it something that we have to talk about? That we have been asked that question. Ancient DNA confirms Native American deep roots, and we are going to look into it as we have already gotten the question up on board to digest it and bring to you some little information concerning it. So, indigenous American DNA, having Native American ancestors or indigenous American DNA, does not make someone a Native American tribal citizen. That is what you have to know. There are differences between a person's genetic, political, and cultural identities. Native American tribal members are citizens of their nations. This is a political and cultural identification rather than a genetic identification. Similar to being a citizen of any other country, in the United States, there are more than 750 federally recognized tribal nations and over 60 state recognized tribes. There are also some regionally recognized tribal communities as we get to know it through research. So, individual tribal nations determine the criteria for tribal citizenship. To determine tribal citizenship, tribal nations determine the legitimacy and the strength of someone's family connections. For many tribal nations, this means tracing a person's lineage back to someone on tribal citizenship rules from the late 19th centuries to 20th centuries, like the Dwells rules. Sometimes a percent of blood called blood quantum is also used. So, blood quantum is not how tribal nations have historically determined who is a tribal member. Rather, blood quantum was created and later used by the United States government to dispose Native American people of their lands and civil liabilities and civil liberties as well. It was not until the Indian Organizations Act of 1934 that the United States began requiring tribal nations to use blood quantum to determine tribal citizenship. So now, it is also important to recognize that some people have strong cultural or family connections to a tribe without being a tribal citizenship. There are many reasons for this, including issues of parental consent, paper genetics. People in this position may be considered Native American because they have strong cultural and family connections. So, Native Americans' ancestors, as we are going to discuss, claiming to be Native American because of distance or unverifiable Native American ancestors contradicts a tribal nation's right to sovereignty. In fact, so many people falsely claim to have a Cherokee great grandmother that is being deemed an anthropological phenomenon. This doesn't mean that the presence of Native American ancestors is not an important feature of someone's family history. However, there's a crucial differences between the claims I have Native American in lineage and I am Native American. Two differences. So what happens when someone says I'm indigenous American? Then now we are going to look at as per the indigenous American DNA. Although the criteria may differ between nations, no tribal nations considers indigenous American DNA to be a legitimate claim to citizenship. In part, This stems from traditional beliefs that kinship network, family connections, not ethnicity or DNA determine who is Native American. So, why indigenous American DNA cannot be used to determine tribal citizenship, it can be vital in assisting Native American people who were separated from their tribal communities through forced adoption or the residential school system. So, the Association for American Indian Affairs report that as many as one third of all Native American children were separated from their tribal communities between 1941 and 1967. The Indian child separated from their tribal communities even after it was signed into law. Today, Native American children still make up a disproportionate part of the U.S. Adoption and foster care system. So, DNA could help Native Americans affected by adoptions or foster care re-establish their family connections for reasons that include tribal sovereignty, ancestry, and does not break down DNA results by tribe, but we do provide an approximate geographical region, indigenous American. So that is it as we can see when we talk about the indigenous Americans. Results are not broken down by tribe. Why the indigenous American regions may not appear in your ethnicities. Those are different reasons given when it comes to Native American DNA results. When you get it from this end, you know where you're coming from and you have to identify them and get on from that point. So, guys, that is it as we have seen it from this angle, from different points of view concerning how and why so many African Americans have Nigerian ancestry DNA proven by 23 and me ancestry DNA result. So keep your comment in the comment section if you are coming for justifications, even if you have questions, keep it in the comment section as others so that we get to discover more facts when it comes to the ancestry DNA result. It was a pleasure to be with you guys. As you can see, we can break it down here and we are going to be back with more questions, more research, and more feedback from different people who have carried out their research to know where they are coming from. So, by so doing, stay blessed as we move on to keep